Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that sent shockwaves through Washington and quietly reshaped the balance of air power in the Middle East, the secret upgrade to Israel's F-35 that even America didn't fully see coming. The F-35 is often described as the most advanced fighter jet ever built, a flying supercomputer designed to dominate the skies through stealth, sensors, and networked warfare. Developed by the United States and shared with close allies, the jet comes with strict rules about how it can be modified, upgraded, or customized. For years, the assumption was simple: no country, no matter how close an ally, could significantly alter the F-35 without American approval. Israel changed that assumption. Quietly, methodically, and with long-term planning, Israel transformed its version of the F-35 into something uniquely its own. This wasn't just a software tweak or a minor hardware change. It was a deep integration of Israeli technology into one of America's most closely guarded weapons systems. To understand why this shocked America, we need to understand Israel's military mindset. Israel has always believed that survival depends on technological superiority, intelligence dominance, and operational independence. Relying entirely on foreign suppliers, even trusted ones, has never been part of Israel's long-term strategy. This philosophy goes back decades, shaped by arms embargoes, sudden wars, and the constant reality of regional threats. When Israel joined the F-35 program, it did so with conditions. From the very beginning, Israeli defense planners pushed for access, flexibility, and customization rights that no other country received. At first, these demands were met with resistance. The F-35 program was already complex, expensive, and politically sensitive. Allowing one nation to diverge from the standard configuration raised concerns about security and control. But Israel persisted. Behind closed doors, negotiations continued for years. Israel argued that its unique security environment required unique solutions. Eventually, the United States agreed to a compromise that few outside defense circles fully understood at the time. Israel was allowed to integrate its own electronic warfare systems into the F-35. This single decision changed everything. Electronic warfare is the invisible battlefield of modern combat. It involves jamming enemy radars, confusing missile guidance systems, intercepting communications, and manipulating the electromagnetic spectrum. Israel is one of the world's leaders in this field. By embedding its own systems into the F-35, Israel created a jet that could operate in ways others simply could not. Unlike other F-35 operators, Israel gained the ability to update and modify mission systems independently. That meant faster adaptation to emerging threats. If a new radar appeared in Iran or Syria, Israeli engineers didn't have to wait for American software updates. They could respond immediately. This level of autonomy stunned U.S. defense officials when the full implications became clear. The shock wasn't about betrayal or hostility. It was about realization. America suddenly understood that Israel possessed an F-35 that was not just different, but potentially more flexible in certain combat scenarios. Israel named its version of the jet the F-35I Adir, a Hebrew word meaning mighty. The name was not symbolic. It reflected confidence in what the aircraft could do. The Adir became the backbone of Israel's future air strategy almost overnight. Reports soon began to surface that Israel had used the F-35 in real combat missions. Unlike other countries that kept their F-35 operations largely experimental or defensive, Israel took the jet into hostile airspace. Syrian air defenses, Russian-made radar systems, and Iranian assets all became part of the operational testing ground. According to Israeli officials, the F-35I performed beyond expectations. It flew undetected. It gathered intelligence. It struck targets and returned without engagement. These missions weren't just about bombing. They were about mapping enemy systems, learning their weaknesses, and refining tactics. The real shock came when American analysts realized how much Israel was learning, and how quickly. The F-35 was designed to collect massive amounts of data. Israel's modifications allowed it to process and exploit that data in ways tailored specifically to regional threats. This meant better mission planning, faster decision-making, and more precise strikes. In effect, Israel turned the F-35 into a regional dominance tool rather than a global generalist platform. Another critical upgrade involved weapons integration. Most F-35 operators rely primarily on American-made munitions. Israel pushed to integrate its own precision-guided weapons. These weapons are optimized for Israel's operational needs, including urban environments and hardened underground targets. By carrying Israeli weapons internally, the F-35I maintained stealth while delivering uniquely tailored firepower. This capability gave Israel options that other F-35 users simply did not have. It also reduced dependence on foreign supply chains during times of crisis. From America's perspective, this raised both admiration and concern. On one hand, Israel was proving the F-35's versatility. On the other, it demonstrated that control over the platform was not absolute. The F-35 program was built on the idea of centralized upgrades and standardized configurations. Israel showed that with enough leverage and expertise, that model could be bent. There was also a strategic intelligence dimension. Every mission flown by the F-35 generates valuable data. Israel's ability to analyze this data independently meant it could develop insights without sharing everything back to the U.S. While intelligence cooperation between the two countries remained strong, the balance subtly shifted. Israel was no longer just a recipient of American technology. It became a co-evolver of the platform. The geopolitical implications were significant. Regional adversaries began to understand that Israel's F-35 was not the same as anyone else's. This uncertainty itself became a deterrent. If enemies didn't fully understand the jet's capabilities, planning effective countermeasures became far more difficult. Deterrence isn't just about power. It's about unpredictability. Israel's secret upgrades added a new layer of ambiguity to its air power. Even allies took notice. Other F-35 operators quietly questioned why Israel received privileges they did not. Some saw it as favoritism. Others saw it as a lesson in strategic persistence. Israel had identified its non-negotiables early and pursued them relentlessly. From the American defense industry's point of view, the situation was complex. Lockheed Martin officially maintained that all F-35s met strict standards. But behind the scenes, engineers and officials acknowledged that Israel's version was unique. It wasn't just customized. It was integrated differently at a fundamental level. This raised questions about the future of multinational weapons programs. Could other nations demand similar freedoms? Would this fragment standardization? Or would it push innovation forward? Israel's success suggested that tight control might not always be the best approach. Sometimes, trusted partners could enhance a system rather than weaken it. There was also a political dimension in Washington. Some lawmakers expressed concern about technology security. Others worried about setting precedents. But many recognized a hard truth. Israel's security environment is unlike any other F-35 operator. Surrounded by potential adversaries, facing missile threats and proxy forces, Israel operates under constant pressure. The upgrades were not about showing off. They were about survival. As time passed, the initial shock gave way to quiet acceptance. The U.S. military began studying Israeli operational lessons. Insights from Israeli F-35 missions influenced American tactics and training. In an ironic twist, Israel's modifications ended up benefiting the original creator of the jet. This kind of feedback loop is rare in military technology. Usually, innovation flows one way. Here, it flowed both ways. Today, the F-35I Adir is widely regarded as one of the most combat-proven variants of the aircraft. While other nations focus on exercises and deterrence patrols, Israel continues to integrate, adapt, and refine. Each upgrade builds on real-world experience. Each mission feeds back into design choices. The secrecy surrounding these upgrades remains tight. Israel rarely confirms details, preferring ambiguity. What is known is enough to understand why America was surprised. Not because Israel acted against U.S. interests, but because